His daughter tugged on his sleeve, pointing at a waitress who looked exactly like her mother. Only she'd been gone for 5 years, or so he believed. The cafe wasn't anything special, just a small-town stop along the highway, with squeaky chairs and the scent of burnt coffee lingering in the air. Michael Reed, 41, had pulled off the road with his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, on their way home from a weekend visit to her grandparents. It was their first long trip without his late wife, Emily, the woman whose laugh still haunted the quiet of his nights, and whose absence had turned every moment into something quieter, duller. Sophie sat across from him, kicking her legs beneath the table, stirring her hot cocoa with more marshmallows than actual drink. "Dad," she whispered suddenly, tugging his sleeve. "That waitress, she looks just like Mom." Michael's stomach dropped. He looked up, eyes scanning the room. Just as a woman walked out from behind the counter, a tray in her hands and her hair tied in a loose bun. He saw her, and his world stopped. Same height, same walk, same profile. His chest tightened. "Emily?" he whispered, barely breathing. But that couldn't be. Emily had died 5 years ago. He had seen the wreckage. He had buried her, mourned her, carried that pain like a second skin. The woman glanced in his direction. Their eyes met, and in that single second, the tray in her hands nearly dropped. She turned abruptly and vanished into the kitchen. Michael stood slowly. His hands were shaking. His daughter looked up at him. "Dad, is she really gone?" Michael didn't answer. Because the woman who had disappeared through the swinging kitchen door had his wife's eyes. And for the first time in 5 years, he wasn't sure what to believe anymore. Michael's heart pounded as he pushed open the swinging kitchen door, stepping into the back of the cafe. He half expected someone to stop him, but no one did. The kitchen was modest, clean, quiet, except for the faint sound of hurried breathing coming from the far end, near the back storage room. He turned the corner, and there she was, back pressed against the wall, hands trembling, eyes wide. "Emily?" he said again, this time louder, the word cracking halfway through. The woman looked at him, really looked, and in that moment something flickered in her face. Recognition, pain, fear. I'm sorry," she said quickly. "You've got the wrong person." Michael shook his head slowly, eyes full. "Number, I don't. You're her. You're my wife." "I'm not," she replied, stepping back. "My name is Rachel. I've never met you before." But her voice, it was exact. The way she spoke, the rhythm, the pitch. It was Emily. Michael reached into his wallet and pulled out an old photo, weathered from time and grief. Him, Emily, and baby Sophie, taken at a picnic years ago. He held it up. "This is you. You're wearing that same birthmark on your neck." Rachel's eyes welled up. And that's when it hit him. She wasn't denying it because she didn't know him. She was denying it because she did. "Emily." "Why?" he whispered. "Why would you let us think you were dead?" She turned her back, covering her mouth with her hand as her shoulders shook. "Because I had to." Michael stepped forward. "You had a daughter. You had me." Her reply came out in a whisper. "I never stopped loving either of you. But if I hadn't disappeared, you both would have died too." Michael froze. What did that mean? Why would she say something like that? Emily, or Rachel, as she now called herself, turned around slowly, her eyes filled with a storm of truth waiting to break. And in that moment, Michael knew. There was more to her death than grief. There was a secret buried behind it, and the truth was only just beginning to surface. Michael stood frozen, the buzzing of the refrigerator the only sound between them. Emily, Rachel, leaned against the wall like the truth had physically knocked the breath out of her. Her eyes darted toward the door, then back to him. "You need to sit down," she said quietly. "If I'm going to explain, you need to hear everything." He didn't move. "Say it," he whispered. "Just say why you left, why you let us suffer." She looked up at him, tears beginning to fall. "Because the crash wasn't an accident." Michael's blood ran cold. "What?" "The night it happened, I was supposed to meet with someone. I was helping investigate a pharmaceutical company. I had files they didn't want the public to see, data about a drug that was killing people in trials." Her voice cracked. "They warned me. I didn't listen. Then that night, the brakes failed. I survived, but barely. The nurse told me someone had come looking for me at the hospital. Not reporters, not friends, strangers." Michael staggered back. "So you ran?" "I had no choice," she cried. "If I contacted you, they'd find you. You and Sophie were everything to me. I didn't want you caught in something that was bigger than either of us." He ran a hand through his hair, shaking. "You let me bury you." "I watched from across the street," she admitted, choking on the words. "I saw the funeral. I saw you holding Sophie. I wanted to run to you, but I couldn't. I couldn't let them see me." Michael dropped into a metal chair, silent. "For 5 years," he said. "I've raised our daughter alone. She cries for you in her sleep. And you were here?" She knelt in front of him. "I wanted to come back, but I didn't know how. Until today, when I saw Sophie." Her voice cracked as her tears fell freely. "She looks just like you. She looked at me like she knew me, and I broke." Michael's heart twisted. Rage, relief, grief, love, all tangled together. "You could have trusted me." "I was trying to protect you," she whispered. "Then do it now," he said firmly. "Come back, tell the truth. Let her have her mother again." Emily stared at him, trembling. "They're still watching, still out there." He stood. "Then let them watch." His eyes locked with hers. "Because you're not disappearing again." And this time, he wasn't asking for permission. The sun had dipped low outside the cafe windows as Michael led Emily out of the kitchen and into the dining room. The air was thick with emotion, but his grip on her hand was steady. Sophie sat in their booth, coloring quietly, completely unaware that the world around her had just changed. Emily hesitated. "What if she doesn't recognize me?" Michael looked at her, voice soft but firm. "She already did." They walked slowly toward the table. Sophie looked up, her eyes lighting up as she saw her dad, but then landing on the woman beside him. She tilted her head. "It's you, the waitress." Her voice was light, but curious. Emily knelt down beside her. "Hi, sweetheart," she said gently. "My name is Emily." Sophie looked confused. "That's my mom's name." Emily's voice shook. I am your mom." Silence. Sophie blinked, then quietly whispered, "But Daddy said you're in heaven?" Emily reached into her pocket and pulled out a little paper heart, a faded scrap from Sophie's baby blanket, the one Emily had kept hidden all these years. "I never left your heart, and I never stopped loving you, not even for 1 second." Sophie stared at the heart. Then, slowly, she reached forward and wrapped her arms around Emily's neck, tightly, as if she'd known all along, as if her little heart had waited 5 years for this very moment. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Michael hired private investigators. Emily came forward, quietly, carefully, with everything she knew. The whistleblower files, the details of the crash, the threats. Together they built a case. Slowly, the truth unraveled. The people responsible were exposed, arrested. The story made national news, but Michael kept the cameras away from Emily and Sophie. This was about family, not fame, and for the first time in years, they had breakfast together, laughed at the same jokes, held hands on evening walks. One evening, as they sat beneath the stars on their backyard porch, Emily looked over at Michael and Sophie roasting marshmallows. She leaned into his shoulder. "Do you think she'll forget I was ever gone?" Michael took her hand. "No," he said softly. "She'll remember that the world tried to take you away, and you fought to come back." Emily looked at her daughter, her smile, her laughter, her light, and knew she hadn't come back from the dead. She'd come back to life.